As we get older, one of the most frustrating changes many seniors experience is hair thinning or hair loss. You look in the mirror and notice your part getting wider, your ponytail getting thinner, or more hair than usual left on the pillow in the morning. And while hair loss is common with aging, it is not always something you have to simply accept. Today, I want to talk about a simple, natural approach that supports hair health from the inside out. Something inexpensive, easy to use, and backed by real biological mechanisms. A solution many seniors overlook, just 1 spoon before bed. Hair loss in seniors does not begin in the mirror, and it does not begin in the shower drain. It begins silently, deep inside the body, years before the first strand ever falls. By the time most people notice thinning hair, the biological damage has already been building for decades, hidden beneath the surface, ignored, misunderstood, and rarely explained. Here is a shocking fact most people never hear. By the age of 60, blood flow to the scalp can drop by up to 40% compared to early adulthood. Hair follicles are living organs. They depend on oxygen, glucose, amino acids, minerals, and hormones delivered through tiny capillaries. When circulation slows, follicles do not die immediately. They starve, they shrink, they enter a dormant state called the telogen phase, where hair growth quietly shuts down. This is not cosmetic, this is vascular aging. Another uncomfortable truth: aging hair loss is strongly linked to chronic low-grade inflammation, something scientists now call inflammaging. Research shows that inflammatory markers such as C-reactive protein and interleukin-6 increase steadily with age. These inflammatory signals attack hair follicle stem cells, damaging their ability to regenerate. Once these stem cells weaken, the follicle loses its power to produce thick, healthy hair. No shampoo can reach that level. No oil can reverse cellular inflammation from the outside. Now consider collagen. After the age of 25, collagen production declines by about 1% every single year. By the time someone reaches 60, they have lost nearly 1/3 of their collagen reserves. Hair follicles rely on collagen to anchor themselves into the scalp. As collagen breaks down, follicles loosen, hair becomes thinner, and shedding accelerates. This is why aging hair often feels finer, weaker, and more fragile even before noticeable baldness occurs. Then there is mineral depletion, one of the most overlooked causes of hair loss in seniors. Studies show that older adults are significantly more likely to be deficient in zinc, iron, magnesium, and copper. Zinc is essential for DNA repair inside hair follicles. Iron carries oxygen to the follicle root. Magnesium regulates stress hormones that directly impact hair growth cycles. Copper activates enzymes responsible for hair pigmentation and strength. When these minerals fall even slightly below optimal levels, hair follicles are among the first tissues to suffer because hair is not a survival priority for the body. Stress plays a darker role than most realize. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, and elevated cortisol has been shown in multiple studies to prematurely push hair follicles into the resting phase. Seniors often experience accumulated emotional stress from illness, loss, sleep disruption, and financial worry. This constant cortisol exposure silently suppresses hair growth signals. In fact, researchers have documented that stress alone can reduce hair follicle stem cell activity even when nutrition is adequate. Hormonal changes add another layer. As we age, levels of growth hormone and IGF-1 decline sharply. These hormones are critical for tissue regeneration, including hair follicles. At the same time, sensitivity to dihydrotestosterone, or DHT, increases in the scalp. This combination creates the perfect storm: weaker growth signals and stronger hair-suppressing signals. The follicle does not fall out overnight. It miniaturizes year after year until it can no longer produce visible hair. Sleep disruption accelerates the damage. Deep sleep is when growth hormone peaks. Yet studies show that seniors experience less deep sleep and more nighttime awakenings. This reduces overnight repair of hair follicles and scalp tissue. Poor sleep also increases insulin resistance, which further impairs blood flow to small vessels like those feeding the scalp. Hair loss, in this sense, becomes a visible sign of systemic aging. Here's the most important realization. Hair loss in seniors is not a scalp problem. It is a metabolic, inflammatory, and circulatory problem. It reflects what is happening inside the body at the cellular level. That is why topical solutions often fail. They are trying to fix a surface symptom while ignoring the root cause buried deep in physiology. Research consistently shows that when circulation improves, inflammation decreases, mineral levels are restored, and nighttime repair mechanisms are supported, hair follicles can re-enter the growth phase, even in older adults. Hair follicles do not have an expiration date. They respond to their environment. Change the internal environment and you change the outcome. This is why focusing only on genetics is misleading. Genetics load the gun, but lifestyle, nutrition, and internal health pull the trigger. Two people of the same age can have drastically different hair density depending on blood flow, inflammation levels, mineral status, and metabolic health. Hair loss is not vanity. It is a biological signal. It is the body quietly saying that circulation is slowing, repair is weakening, and resources are running low. When you understand that, hair loss stops being a mystery and starts becoming a message. And the most powerful part is this: the same internal changes that support hair follicles also support the heart, the brain, the bones, and longevity itself. When you address the internal causes of hair loss, you are not just saving hair, you are supporting the entire aging process at its foundation. This is why real solutions do not start in the bathroom. They start in the bloodstream, in the cells, and in the quiet hours of the night when the body decides whether to repair or decline. What if the solution to age-related hair loss was not hidden in a laboratory, not locked behind a prescription, and not costing hundreds of dollars every year, but sitting quietly in a spoon, taken at the exact moment your body is most capable of repair, right before sleep? Here is a fact that immediately changes how you see hair loss. More than 90% of hair growth occurs during the anagen phase. And this phase is controlled not by what you put on your scalp, but by what your body has available in nutrients, hormones, and blood flow while you rest. Hair does not grow when you are awake and stressed. Hair grows when your body feels safe, nourished, and supported, especially at night. Black sesame seeds are not just food. They are a biological signal. For centuries, they were associated with longevity, stronger bones, darker hair, and delayed aging. Today, science is beginning to explain why ancient traditions were right. 1 tablespoon of black sesame seeds contains a dense concentration of zinc, copper, iron, magnesium, calcium, and selenium, all minerals directly involved in hair follicle metabolism. Zinc activates enzymes responsible for hair follicle repair. Iron delivers oxygen to the root of the follicle. Magnesium calms the nervous system and lowers cortisol, a hormone proven to suppress hair growth. Copper plays a critical role in melanin synthesis, which gives hair its color and structural strength. When these minerals are missing, hair follicles go silent. Now here is the shocking part. Studies show that up to 40% of adults over 60 are deficient in at least one key mineral involved in hair growth, even if they eat regularly. Aging reduces stomach acid, digestive enzyme output, and nutrient absorption. So even when seniors eat healthy, their bodies may not be extracting what hair follicles need to survive. Black sesame seeds provide these nutrients in a highly bioavailable, natural form the body recognizes. But minerals are only part of the story. Black sesame seeds are rich in lignans and polyphenols, powerful antioxidant compounds shown to reduce oxidative stress. Oxidative stress damages the DNA inside hair follicle stem cells. Once these stem cells are compromised, the follicle loses its ability to regenerate strong hair. Research has shown that antioxidants can protect these stem cells, extending the active life of the follicle even in older adults. Then there are the fats. Hair shafts are made of protein, but their strength and flexibility depend heavily on lipids. Black sesame seeds contain healthy omega-6 fatty acids and natural oils that support scalp hydration from the inside out. As we age, sebum production drops. This is why older hair becomes dry, brittle, and prone to breakage. Supplying healthy fats internally helps rebuild the protective lipid layer around the hair shaft, reducing breakage and thinning. Now let's talk about timing, because this is where most people miss the real power. Taking black sesame seeds before bed aligns perfectly with the body's circadian biology. During deep sleep, growth hormone secretion increases dramatically. Growth hormone is one of the most important drivers of tissue repair, including hair follicles. At the same time, blood flow shifts away from digestion toward repair and regeneration. Nutrients consumed shortly before sleep become raw materials for overnight rebuilding. Studies on sleep physiology show that cellular repair, collagen synthesis, and stem cell activity peak during the first half of the night. When minerals, antioxidants, and healthy fats are available in the bloodstream during this window, hair follicles are far more likely to re-enter or remain in the growth phase. This is not superstition. This is human biology. There is also a hormonal effect. Black sesame seeds have been shown in animal and human studies to support liver detoxification pathways. The liver plays a central role in hormone regulation, including estrogen and androgen metabolism. When hormone balance improves, excessive sensitivity to DHT in the scalp can decrease, reducing one of the strongest biological triggers of age-related hair thinning. Another overlooked benefit is stress reduction. Magnesium and healthy fats found in black sesame seeds support the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and repair system. Lower nighttime cortisol levels mean less hair follicle suppression. Chronic stress has been shown to shut down hair growth signals at the genetic level. Supporting relaxation before sleep is not just about better rest. It is about giving follicles permission to grow again. Consistency is where the transformation happens. Hair follicles operate on cycles measured in weeks and months, not days. When black sesame seeds are taken nightly, they create a steady internal environment that favors growth over shedding. Studies on nutrient repletion show that hair shedding often decreases before visible regrowth occurs. This is why many people notice less hair on their pillow or in the shower first. The follicle is stabilizing before it starts producing stronger hair. And here is the most powerful truth. This one spoon is not forcing hair to grow. It is removing the obstacles that aging places in the way of growth. It restores circulation support. It lowers inflammation. It replaces missing minerals. It supports nighttime repair. And when those conditions are met, the body does what it was designed to do. Hair follicles do not retire at 60. They respond to signals. They respond to nutrition. They respond to timing. And when you give the body what it needs at the moment, it is most capable of healing. Even something as simple as a spoon before bed can become a turning point, not just for hair, but for how aging itself unfolds. The most uncomfortable truth about hair regrowth after 60 is this: the body does not respond to shortcuts. It responds to signals repeated consistently over time. Hair follicles do not listen to motivation. They listen to biology. And biology only changes when daily habits change long enough for the body to believe the environment is safe again. Here's a fact that shocks most people. Human hair grows at an average rate of just 1 centimeter per month, and in seniors, that rate can slow by up to 30%. That means every strand you see today began forming months ago under internal conditions that may no longer exist. This is why people give up too early. They stop the habit before the results even have time to appear. Consistency is not optional. It is the mechanism. Hair follicles follow a strict biological cycle. The growth phase, known as anagen, can last years in youth, but with age it shortens dramatically. Once a follicle enters the resting phase, it can remain inactive for months before shedding. Scientific studies confirm that nutritional improvements must be maintained long enough to carry the follicle from dormancy back into active growth. Miss the window, and the follicle stays asleep. Now let's talk about protein, because without it, no hair solution works. Hair is made of keratin, a protein built from amino acids like cysteine, methionine, and lysine. Research shows that protein intake tends to drop with age, often falling below the level required to maintain muscle mass, let alone hair production. When protein is insufficient, the body redirects amino acids to vital organs, not hair. Hair becomes expendable. This is why seniors with low protein intake often experience diffuse thinning across the scalp. It is not hormonal. It is not genetic. It is nutritional prioritization. The body is choosing survival over appearance. Hydration plays an equally critical role. Even mild chronic dehydration reduces blood volume, which directly lowers blood flow to the scalp. Studies show that reduced scalp microcirculation is one of the strongest predictors of hair follicle miniaturization in older adults. Without adequate hydration, nutrients cannot reach the follicle efficiently, no matter how healthy the diet looks on paper. And here is something rarely discussed. Many seniors avoid drinking fluids in the evening to reduce nighttime bathroom trips. This leads to overnight dehydration, exactly when the body is supposed to be repairing tissue. Dehydrated blood is thicker, thicker blood moves slower, and slow blood starves hair follicles during their most critical repair window. Sleep may be the most underestimated factor of all. Deep sleep is when growth hormone peaks. Growth hormone activates collagen synthesis, cell repair, and follicle regeneration. Yet studies show that adults over 60 experience significantly less deep sleep and more fragmented sleep. This alone can reduce tissue repair capacity by more than 50% compared to younger adults. Poor sleep also increases insulin resistance. Insulin resistance damages blood vessels and reduces nitric oxide production, a molecule essential for blood flow. Less nitric oxide means narrower vessels feeding the scalp. Narrower vessels mean weaker follicles. Now add stress to the equation. Chronic stress elevates cortisol, and cortisol has been shown to suppress hair follicle stem cell activity at the genetic level. In laboratory studies, elevated cortisol literally shuts down the signals that tell hair follicles to grow. Seniors often live with long-term stress that never fully resolves. This constant hormonal pressure keeps follicles locked in survival mode. This is why lifestyle matters more than people want to admit. You cannot out-supplement poor sleep. You cannot out-nutrition chronic stress. You cannot regrow hair in an environment that tells the body it is under threat. Consistency is about more than taking one spoon before bed. It is about repeating the same supportive signals night after night until the body stops defending itself and starts repairing again. Another shocking reality is time. Hair regrowth does not follow motivation timelines. Research shows that most nutritional hair interventions take 8 to 12 weeks just to reduce shedding. Visible thickening often takes 3 to 6 months, and that is in ideal conditions. This delay is not failure, it is physiology. Many people quit at the exact moment the follicles are waking up. There is also the issue of absorption. Aging digestive systems absorb nutrients less efficiently. This means consistency matters even more because occasional intake is not enough. Regular intake creates steady blood levels that follicles can rely on. Spikes do not help hair. Stability does. And here is the most powerful realization of all. Hair regrowth is not the goal. Biological restoration is the goal. Hair is simply one of the first visible signs that the internal environment is improving. When protein intake improves, when hydration stabilizes, when sleep deepens, when stress lowers, and when key nutrients are supplied consistently, hair responds because it is allowed to. This is why people who commit to these habits often notice other changes first. Better sleep, stronger nails, improved energy, warmer hands and feet from better circulation. Hair follows health, not the other way around. The body does not punish age. It responds to signals. When those signals are repeated consistently, day after day, night after night, even aging hair follicles can re-enter the growth cycle. Not because of a miracle, but because the environment that once forced them to shut down has finally changed. And that is the difference between hope and results. Not intensity, not desperation, but consistency, patience, and respect for how the body actually heals.